The first advanced word for picture description that we'll look at is wide shot. And this you should use to describe an image that captures a large area. For example, this image is a wide shot of a beach. We can see a lot of the beach, we can see a lot of the ocean, we can see buildings, we can see mountains. So there's a lot of stuff in this image because it's a wide shot. The opposite of a wide shot is a close-up. And this is an image that focuses on a small detail or object. For example, this image is a close-up of someone pouring steamed milk into a mug of coffee. Black and white. This is what you should use to describe an image that doesn't have color, which does happen on the Duolingo English test. For example, this is a black and white image of two dolphins leaping out of the sea. Focal point. This refers to the focus of the image. For example, the focal point of the image is a bright red sign. You can think of this as a synonym in many cases for in the middle. Positioned. This is an elegant way to describe where something is placed in the image. For example, a skyscraper is positioned in the middle of the image, or a church is positioned on the left-hand side of the photo. In the background, this refers to stuff that is behind the main subject or the focal point of an image. For example, in the background, we can see many white houses. But we can also combine multiple advanced vocabulary terms and get even more points. For example, positioned in the background, we can see many white houses. The opposite of in the background is in the foreground. This refers to things that are in front or close to the camera. For example, in the foreground, we can see a woman with blonde hair, a black shirt, and white pants. But we can also combine in the foreground with more advanced vocabulary that we've already looked at. So a very high scoring sentence would be, the focal point of the image in the foreground is a woman with blonde hair, a black shirt, and white pants. Dominating the scene. So this describes something that is taking up most of the space or the attention of the viewer. For example, in this image, a tall tree is dominating the scene. And like we've already seen, we can combine that with even more advanced vocabulary to gain even more points. In this image, a tall tree is dominating the scene in the foreground. Next is I can make out. So this is a synonym for I can see, but it's something that you can see not very clearly. For example, in this image, I can make out a person standing in the middle of a field. So the person in that image is very small. You can see them, but it's difficult. They're not clear. And therefore, I can make out would be a more accurate way to describe the image. I get the impression that. This is a synonym for it seems like. For example, I get the impression that the two children in this image are siblings. In the process of, this is an elegant way to describe when people are doing something, in particular, doing something with a goal. So this image depicts two people in the process of cooking. It's important to note that the word that comes after in the process of will be the ing form of a word, in this case, cooking. Depicts. This is a synonym for shows or represents. For example, this image depicts a city street on a rainy day. Partially visible. Only part of it can be seen. So, this image depicts a red building that is partially visible. We only see part of the red building. Architectural style. This describes the design of a building. This building has a futuristic architectural style. And then futuristic is one of the adjectives that you can pair with architectural style. So futuristic refers to something that looks modern and from the future. Again, this building has a futuristic architectural style. We also have classical. So this refers to a building that is inspired by old, elegant styles. For example, this building has a classical architectural style. So even if a building is built recently, this one actually looks fairly new, but it appears like an older building. We can still use the phrase classical architectural style. Functional. This means simple and useful. This building has a functional architectural style. So typically, buildings that are functional are not particularly pretty, but they work, right? So this building, it has large windows, it has apartment units. It is a fine place to live. It is functional. Plain. This means a building that has no decoration. This building has a plain architectural style. So it has one color, it has doors, it has some windows. It is plain. Ornate. This is the opposite of plain. And it refers to a building or anything that is full of details and decorations. For example, this building has an ornate architectural style. So there's paintings everywhere and details. There's really a lot to study, therefore it is ornate. And note there that because ornate starts with a vowel sound, you will need an ornate. Brutalist. This describes buildings that are rough and have a concrete, heavy style. So this building has a brutalist architectural style. And we can combine that with other advanced vocabulary that we've looked at to say this building has a brutalist functional architectural style. So usually when you have a brutalist building, you can also describe it as functional because many brutalist buildings are very functional. They're not fancy, they don't look pretty, they're just meant to serve a specific purpose. For example, these are maybe apartments or maybe an office building, and that's very clear by looking at it that it's meant to be very efficient. Brick. This building is made of brick. So, is made of, you compare with any material. We're going to look at a few other materials next, but you can also use brick as an adjective, like I do here in the second sentence. This brick building has a classical architectural style. This building is made of glass and steel. Again, you can see that putting as much descriptive vocabulary as you can in your sentences is how you will gain points. Skyscraper. This refers to a very tall building. This skyscraper is made of glass and steel. And here we have 3 advanced vocabulary words in one sentence. Before we get to the rest of the vocabulary, I wanted to take a moment to let you know about Arno. You get unlimited practice questions for every question type on the Duolingo English test for free. Also for free, you get access to our advanced vocabulary builder that can help you master the words that you need to get a great score on the test. If you upgrade to one of our paid plans, then you can access our advanced features like instant scoring and detailed feedback on your writing and speaking responses that shows you exactly where you need to improve your grammar and vocabulary to get a higher score. We also have full mock tests and premium lessons and grammar exercises, so really just a ton of stuff that will help you get ready for the DET. To check all of that out, just head over to goarno.io and create your free account. Okay, let's get back to the rest of the vocabulary. Concrete. This skyscraper is made of concrete, but I can do even better. This skyscraper is made of concrete and has a brutalist functional architectural style. Structure. This is a general word that you can use for a building or some kind of construction. For example, this image depicts a young woman sitting on a blue and orange structure made of steel. So I don't know what this is. It's not exactly a building, but it's something that is built, and therefore we can use the term structure. Spacious. This describes a place that is big with lots of room. For example, this image depicts a spacious room with large windows. Light-filled. This refers to a room that is bright with lots of natural light. So typically, when you have a spacious room, you'll also have big windows, and therefore you'll often be able to use light-filled and spacious together like I do here. This image depicts a light-filled, spacious room with large windows. Note how light-filled has to be in that order, and it requires a hyphen in between light and filled. And I can go even one step further and add airy. So airy refers to a space with a lot of air. So this image depicts an airy, light-filled, spacious room with large windows. This is another trick that you can use as you're preparing for the test, is to learn groups of words together so that you can use all of them when you are describing an image. So here, airy, light-filled, and spacious are all great adjectives to describe a room like this. And if you can remember to use all three, you'll gain a lot of points for your response. Pitched. So this describes a roof at an angle. For example, this house has a pitched roof. So on the test, you will often have buildings in the images that you are given, and that means you can almost always describe the roof, and pitched roof is quite advanced, so that's an easy sentence that you can include. The opposite of a pitched roof is a flat roof. This house has a flat roof. Overcast. This is a synonym for cloudy, but it means completely covered with gray clouds, very cloudy. So the sky in this image is overcast. Partially cloudy. So some clouds, but some blue sky as well. For example, the sky in this image is partially cloudy. Cloudless. No clouds, only clear sky. So the sky in this image is cloudless. There are 0 clouds. Dreary. This refers to weather that is gray, dull, usually rainy, a little sad. So the weather in this photo is dreary. Stormy. This refers to weather that has strong wind, rain, or thunder. In other words, where there is a storm. The weather in this photo is stormy. Chilly. This is a synonym for cold. The weather in this photo is chilly. Agreeable. This is a nice way to describe nice, comfortable, pleasant weather. So the weather in this photo is agreeable. Everybody is sitting outside comfortably, and there are people having picnics. Balmy. This means warm, pleasant. So the weather in this photo is balmy. This looks like it was taken on some tropical island or something like that. Atmosphere. This is a nice way to describe the mood or feeling of a place in an image. So the atmosphere of this photo is peaceful. In other words, if you were actually at that place in the image, you would feel peaceful because of the place. And then peaceful itself is an advanced word that means quiet and calm. Hectic. This is the opposite of peaceful. It means busy, chaotic, lots of motion, lots of people, lots of noise. The atmosphere of this photo is hectic. So this is a train station. Lots of people are moving back and forth. It's definitely hectic. Solemn. This describes a place that is serious, respectful, for example, a church. So the atmosphere of this photo is solemn. And note here that the N at the end of that word is silent. So when you pronounce it, you just pronounce the M. Solemn. Cozy. This describes a place that is warm, small, comfortable, like a cabin. The atmosphere of this photo is cozy. Eerie. This describes a place that is spooky, scary, mysterious, something that would belong in a horror movie. So the atmosphere of this photo is eerie. Tense. This describes a scene that is uncomfortable or stressful. So these two birds are fighting. There's a lot of tension. Therefore, we can say that the atmosphere of this photo is tense. Next is light. This is a nice word to include when you are describing colors. And light means that some color has been mixed with white to make it softer. For example, this image depicts a light pink home next to a light blue home. Dark. This is the opposite of light. It refers to a color that has been mixed with black. For example, this image depicts a dark green backpack. Bright. This is a color that is strong and eye-catching. For example, this image depicts a bright yellow car. Vivid. This refers to a color that is very strong or bright. For example, this image depicts a woman wearing a dress with vivid yellow, pink, and green. If you found this video helpful, please be sure to like and subscribe. That way we know we should keep making more like it. And you should be sure to download the PDF of all of this vocabulary so that you can refer to it offline while you are studying. From here, I would recommend that you check out our other very popular video for picture description, which you can find over here. I'll see you over in that lesson.